There is no Jesus. Doesn't exist.
I seriously don't understand how anybody made it past that point in the video. I don't understand how many times does she have to be debunked and the information that she puts forward debunks. False teachers like her are dangerous. And I seriously don't understand how in 2024, people with access to the internet and books and encyclopedias and even artificial intelligence are still taking the things that she says seriously. I seriously don't understand how we can be so deceived that hundreds of thousands of people will like the videos that come from her when she shows no evidence, no proof, no substantial credibility whatsoever. I seriously don't understand how in 2024 that we're still making the letter J argument, that we're still trying to say that Jesus couldn't have existed because the letter J wasn't invented until 1524. I seriously don't understand how people are still falling prey and being deceived by these arguments that have been debunked time and time and time again. Now, don't get me wrong. I know what the issue is, and it's written right here. For the time will come when people will not tolerate sound doctrine, but according to their own desires will multiply teachers for themselves because they have an itch to hear what they want to hear. They will turn aside or turn away from hearing the truth and will turn aside to myths. And that's exactly what's happening. People don't want to hear truth. They don't want to hear sound doctrine. They don't want evidence. They don't want proof. And even when you give it to them, they won't recognize it. But what will they do? They'll go on TikTok, they'll go on Instagram, they'll go on YouTube and find people that are teaching what they want to hear. They're not looking for information, they're looking for affirmation. They're looking for something that is going to make them feel good, that is going to affirm for them what they already believe. And that's why people like her blow up. You know how I know people don't want sound doctrine? Because if people who are deconstructing, if people who really have questions on the faith, if I had a scientific question, I'm not going to find somebody on TikTok that has no credentials, that has no background, that has no education, and to try and answer that question. If I have a legal question, I don't want to talk to a person who is a aspiring student in the legal field to talk about something. I want to talk to someone who's passed the bar. I want to talk to someone who has experience in the courtroom, someone who has tried and counter arguments for the arguments that I'm talking about from a legal perspective. I'm going to talk to someone that knows what they're talking about. But when we see these panels and different things and these channels and these videos and different things, we don't see them talking to people like Mike from Inspiring Philosophy. We don't see them talking to True Christian Ministry. We don't see them talking to Victor, to Creole Apologetics. We don't see them talking to Marcel. We don't see them talking to all of these people who are established, who know their faith, who have evidence, who have sources. They're not bringing them up on the panels. They're not inviting them. And when they do invite them in there, they mistreat them, they cut them off, they talk about them, they insult them because they don't want sound doctrine. And so they will bring on people who really don't know their faith that well. They will bring on people who they can ridicule and people who they can do all kind of things to because they're not really interested in understanding truth. I'm gonna show y'all what happens when somebody like a Billy Carson runs into someone that absolutely knows what they're talking about. Y'all see up there in the left corner, that's Billy Carson, Mr. Emerald Tablets, and all this other good stuff. That's all been over TikTok, social media, YouTube, and all this stuff, telling all these lies about Christianity, saying the Sinai Bible doesn't contain the crucifixion, even though you can go and look at the Sinai Bible right now, and in all four Gospels in the Sinai Bible, it talks about the crucifixion. So what happens? He went on his friend's podcast up there, and his friend says, "Hey man, you've been talking all of this stuff. I got a friend named Wes Huff who's an apologist who knows his stuff. He knows about manuscripts and everything. You mind if I bring him in on the conversation?" Wes Huff gets in there. They start to have this conversation. He starts destroying Billy Carson's doctrine. Again, we're not attacking the person, but attacking false doctrine. He starts destroying him to the point where Billy Carson's friend, the podcast host, he told him, like, look, no, don't release that video. It was so bad that when you run up against somebody that knows what they're talking about, it was so bad that Billy Carson is telling this dude, "Hey, I make money from this. Hey, my internet fame is based upon this. My reputation is based upon this. You can't release this debate." Why? Because when you run up against a Wes Huff, when you run up against an Inspiring Philosophy, when you run up against a True Christian Ministry, when you run up against somebody that knows what they're talking about, you get what you get. And you're going to mess around and understand that this is not a game for us. This is life for us. This has eternal value for us. People like this don't want to smoke with real people that understand their Bibles. So y'all please stop following these channels. Find trusted teachers who are interested in giving you the Bible in context from a Christocentric, from a Christ-centered perspective, from a God-glorifying perspective, and allow them to add fruit and add value to your life. Please stop following channels like that because it's not going to do any good. It's only going to do more harm and cause more harm in the body of Christ. I love y'all, committed to giving y'all good biblical truth and everything. Keep me in prayer. I keep you in prayer as well. Blessings.